Greetings, Dr. Beckett. Welcome to the Quantum Leap podcast.
Hello, and welcome to this special brought to you by the Quantum Leap podcast. I'm Albie. Joining me today is the author of the Quantum Leap novel, Foreknowledge, and showrunner and host of the Quantum Leap podcast, my friend, Christopher D. Philippus.
Pleasure to be here.
I don't have my copy handy. I feel like I've failed.
Also joining me today is internet personality, host of the Quantum Leap podcast, and the owner of the world's only known dryer lint portrait of Dean Stockwell, Allison Pregler.
Hi, I don't have it handy. I can't hold it up for everyone. But...
And also joining us today is the creator of quantumleapinfo.net, the man who literally wrote the book on Quantum Leap, Beyond the Mirror Image, The Observer's Guide to Quantum Leap, Dr. Quantum Leap himself, Matt Dale. Matt Dale, how you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you doing?
All right. That's everybody.
Man of the hour.
Yay.
And congratulations on your promotion to Dr. Matt.
Yes, Dr. Quantum Leap. If anybody's Dr. Quantum Leap, it would be Matt Dale. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And then, so welcome everybody to What'd You Hear? This is our special. We're looking at all the info that has leaked out from the new version of Quantum Leap. The reboot, everything we know and don't know, things we think we know. Some of us know more than others. Some of us can't say things. Matt, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about the upcoming reboot of Quantum Leap for people who've never heard about it before, and this is their first time hearing about it.
So yeah, we've got a pilot on the way. There's a pilot that's being filmed, guys. This is amazing. So yeah, I mean we're going to get into the detail throughout this show, I guess. But yeah, a pilot's been filmed. No series order yet, but we've all got our fingers crossed. It is very much a sequel. It's going to be set in the same timeline, the same continuity, but with a whole new cast of characters. It's kind of a Quantum Leap: The Next Generation, with Deborah Pratt and Donald Bellisario executive producing, but a new team of writers looking after it. It's all very cool, quite shrouded in mystery at the moment, but typically with anything that has location filming, loads of bits and pieces leaking out there, which we're going to be putting together in this recording.
We were very lucky for those people spying on the production. It made me think, oh man, we should have went up there and did some spying ourselves. I didn't know they were going to be out in the open. I thought they were going to be in the studio, back lots, security, and we'd have to like scale fences or, dress up in funny Keystone Cop outfits with mustaches to get in.
Mission Impossible
We're not those
style.
guys, we're the other guys.
We can do that anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe if it goes to series, we'll see.
Yeah.
If we can all sneak on the lot. All right. So it's a continuation, right? Not a reboot?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to acknowledge the prior people.
Yeah. I mean, the word reboot is getting used a lot. The word reboot has been in all of the press releases, and it's kind of terrifying a lot of the people out there in internet land that haven't been following it that closely, because the production team are calling it a reboot because it's been off the air for so long and it's coming back. And a lot of people will say that's not technically a reboot, but that's what it's being called. But yeah, to you and me, it's not a reboot. It is a sequel show.
What is that, a requel or something? They came up with a word for that recently. That's like a sequel reboot combined. I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't that in the latest Scream movie? I think that's.
Oh, is that what it was? Yes.
Well, that's where
Scream,
I first heard it.
Scream 5. That's where I heard it. Yeah.
I don't like that term at all. Requel. It's not pleasant to say.
It was a good movie.
I was watching them talk about that the film, about how fans feel like they've got an ownership over something, and they hate it when a sequel comes out and it's terrible. And I was just sitting there thinking, this could be part of Quantum Leap fandom in a few months.
So hopefully one of us doesn't go around killing people on the new requel.
Let's try not to do that.
That'll be the plot of an episode.
Did you know who the killer was, Matt? It kind of surprised me. Did you guys see Scream 5? Is it 5?
Not yet. Eventually I'll see it. I liked all the other ones.
The twist surprised me. I thought it was okay. It was good.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I really did. Good acting in this one. I was surprised. Yeah. Christopher D. Philippus, what do you hear?
Yes, that's me. What do I hear about what?
The requel of Quantum Leap.
I have total requel, let me tell you.
Yeah, we'll start off with you, and then we'll end with Matt Dale because he knows everything.
No, here's what I know. I know what Matt just said. I think that Matt and Allison and I have been going back and forth ever since the news broke. And as you know, we've done a couple of shows regarding, on the podcast proper, regarding what information's come out, especially when they got the character list and then the actors that were playing the characters were confirmed. Up until that point, I told Matt that from now on, I basically want to be like a kid on Christmas morning when this thing comes out. I don't want to really know anything about it. And you can't help these days, though. I mean, we have patrons. One of them took, I think it's, who plays Ben again? Forgive me.
Raymond Lee.
I'm looking at you, Matt Dale.
It's Raymond Lee is who plays Ben.
Raymond Lee. Okay.
Thank you.
One of them took a picture of Raymond's script that he posted on, I guess it was on Twitter or Instagram or something.
Yeah.
And he tweaked the levels
amazing.
so that you could actually see the script, the first page of the script on the back half. And so, I mean, so I saw that. So I saw, okay, well, I know, I guess, where the opening scene is going to be unless that changes. And there are a couple other things that I think that we're going to mention tonight that are not really hugely spoilery, but as long as it's not substantive, as long as like there's not like I think of like when I went to go see God damn it, why am I blanking on that stupid Bruce Willis movie? I'm usually
Hudson
much more
Hawk.
good than this. That's it. When I went to see Hudson Hawk and there was that huge twist in the middle.
That was really it?
I thought that because everybody knows what I'm talking about. But
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. If there's like a Sixth Sense thing, I don't want to know about it. If there's
that makes sense.
Like something that's like pivotal plot stuff that's like thrilling and gripping, I don't want to know about it. I want to be surprised. I don't want to go in knowing beat for beat for beat what's going to happen. Yeah.
Well, you were in television news production for a while, right? Isn't that kind of like the curse of being one of the people that report on things is having to know it all and even things you don't want to know and, you know, things you can talk about, things you can't?
Oh yeah, but I mean that's different. I mean, if you're interviewing somebody and something's off the record, this would be like if Matt would be in that situation with me here. Like he
hasn't told me anything off the record, as far as I know.
But he's read the script, so he can be circumspect about what he says and what he doesn't says. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted because Matt froze again like he did yesterday, and he's just got this adorable smile, and he's holding a glass of wine.
It's cold in England. It's cold in England.
But anyway, that's more Matt's burden at this point. With me, it's just, you know, there are things that are off the record. There are things that you can source and not attribute, but you can talk about. And then there are things that you can quote people on. But that's just news. Who cares about that? I'm excited about Quantum Leap. I was never excited.
Yeah, this is
about
much more important.
Yeah, exactly.
Allison,
100%.
what do you hear?
I mean, I've been hearing a lot of stuff. I'm in the same boat as Chris. Like, I just don't want to know, you know, beat for beat what's going to happen. Really, like, substantial stuff about the plot. I don't care if I know like the setting of the leap. I don't think that's really gonna like change the lore of Quantum Leap or what's going on there. I just don't want to know, you know, all the really big details, which I don't know, and I think a lot of people don't know unless they've read the script. And Matt's been pretty clear he's not going to talk about things that aren't publicly known. I've been following the Quantum Leap hashtag on Twitter, and there's one particular user, and Matt's been sourcing them. He knows who it is that has been hanging around Vancouver filming like while they're doing some of the stuff on location, which is pretty cool to see and doesn't really tell you a lot about what's going on other than the obvious plot of the leap. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been following, little bits and pieces. It's cool to see one of the showrunners. He's been, is it Stephen Lillian is the
Yeah, I think he's the new writer too. He's like the
Stephen
head
Lillian's
guy.
tweeted a little bit, and Brian Wimbrand has just been on Instagram so much, sharing loads of completely irrelevant photos, which just makes you feel like you're there without actually revealing anything. It's so great.
Yeah, it's been cool to see them both post like, you know, just little bits and pieces, and then you're like, ooh, what's that? What's going on here? Try and solve the mystery. Yeah. Cool stuff.
Now, Now, Matt, you created quantumleapinfo.net, and that has like a beat by beat, just a log of everything that we know publicly about Quantum Leap. I was going through that today. The videos on there from like different social media platforms, different pictures. Like how do you get all that and put it together?
So that has just been weeks of trawling and monitoring, mostly social media to try and pick stuff up. But also there's the Directors Guild of Canada has a website that lists all the current in-production stuff going on in Canada, which I've been keeping an eye on. There's Production Weekly, which is a subscription e-zine that does something similar. So just, all kinds of places. And this the site started when Quantum Leap first appeared on the Directors Guild of Canada site, and it listed the production dates and the studio, and the address of the production office. It didn't mention the studio, so from there I was able to find out the studio. And I created this page that was basically just a load of photos of the empty studio, saying this is where it's gonna be, because I was so excited. That was the only information that was out there. And it's since then it's just been a matter of pulling together all these little threads of info popping up across the internet, and being careful not to reveal anything new, which is quite tough when I've read the script, and it would be so easy to say, oh, okay, and this scene, I know what's going on there, but just trying to say that this is the facts that are out there, and here's a coherent way of displaying it. But everything that we know is there.
It's been impressive, the stuff that you've managed to dig up. It's been really cool, just following what you're posting. Like, ooh, this is good stuff.
I think the most exciting leak that I had, or not even leak, but the most exciting break that I had was a few hours before Mason Alexander Park was announced. I saw that somebody had started following him. I think it was either Brian or Raymond. Somebody had started following him on Instagram that day. And it's just like, hang on, they're looking for a non-binary actor in their 20s, and suddenly one of them's linked on Instagram. And I managed to break that about 3 hours before the official channels. It's just
you should walk around with a hat that says press on the top.
I try.
As soon as you posted the address and we knew where it was going to be filmed, I started texting Chris. I'm like, man, we got to fly up there. Let's fly up there. Let's do this.
Yeah. We didn't. Well, we can't go without purpose. I look at it this way. Let's just seriously lobby Deborah when we speak to her. Say, come on.
Let us in. When it goes to series, let us in.
Yeah.
Listen,
Worst case, it goes to series, and you have to deal with us for a couple days.
So. Yeah. But
we'll hang out there for a few weeks, and then each of us will be a mirror image each week.
That would be awesome. Life goals, right? Life goals. Yeah, that'd be funny if it was all four of us. He looked in the mirror and it was all four of us.
He's 4 people. Oh my god.
Yep. And Matt was frozen.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Matt, what do you hear?
Yeah. So, should we start with? Because I've been trying to figure out the best way of going through this stuff. Let's start with the stuff in the 80s, because I think we maybe Albie you don't, because I think you've been furthest away from all this, but I think most people know the leap is into 1989. Into San Francisco.
Good year.
During an earthquake. All of this.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it was apparently a big one. And being a Brit, I was just, when I read the script, I was like, what's the meaning of a 1989 earthquake? It means nothing to me. But apparently it was quite newsworthy. And that that was revealed in one of the location photos. There was one of those film warnings stuck up around Vancouver, saying we're going to be filming soon, and this is what we're going to be filming. So that's all over the place anyway. So if we start off talking about that, one thing that I'm going to share, which is not public knowledge, but I don't think is particularly spoiler worthy. The final day of filming, we know, is in a pub in Vancouver, and that we know. The thing I'll share now is that's the site of the leap-in. He arrives in a pub, and that's where a bar rather. He arrives in a bar and sees a bunch of 80s stuff and goes, "Okay, all right."
Seem familiar? Leaping in a bar last
I was just going to
episode?
say that.
And then, ooh.
Nothing.
Yeah,
symmetry there.
Is that the picture that's on your website of the bar?
Yeah, so I just got a picture from a few years back of the inside of the bar because clearly interior filming, no one's been able to see anything. But that will be the first shot of the episode. That's gonna be how it opens.
Is it public knowledge, or do we know that if Bruce McGill is the bartender?
There is no casting knowledge known about the bar scene, apart from the fact that Ben is obviously there because he's leapt in.
Right.
This is where every time you ask me a
Just
question,
checking.
I'm going to have to be thinking, do I know this from the script, or do I know this because it's
Right.
public knowledge? So no, nothing's known about the bar scene.
Okay, cool. Very cool. 1989. I remember that earthquake. That was the first like big major thing that happened when I was self-aware, and that I would watch like CNN for like 5 days straight to just keep up with it. You know, every few years that happens, but I do remember that. That was a pretty bad one. So it's interesting that they went back to that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be there's going to be a lot of opportunities for big effects, and this goes on to some of the stuff that we've seen. Because we almost all the photos and videos that we've seen, and we'll put a montage up now, I guess, just showing all this stuff. All the photos and videos that we've seen from the Vancouver locals have been of 1989 under the shock and the after effects of an earthquake. So yeah, that's for sure. That's the backing of it. We've seen a video. I think that there's one of Ray running towards the camera and an explosion happening behind him. There's another one of Jewel States and an unknown woman who, even from the script, I'm not entirely sure who she is. But there's one of Jewel States and this unknown actress tending to some wounded. Jewel State, we later found out, is Naomi, and we know from the original leaks that Naomi and the leapee are a married couple about to get a divorce. So Jewel is not going to end up, based on that, being a recurring regular character. She is part of the 1989 storyline.
Well, if I know anything about ex-wives, is they keep popping up. So you never know. You never know.
This is true.
Every leap in the new thing, like he keeps encountering this ex-wife from the first one.
It's possible. Well, you know, if she plays like a Donna role or something like that, where maybe he leaps back into a time where he sees her and, you know, she doesn't hate him yet.
This would be quite a lot to put into the pilot. I'm actually surprised that they're doing a big historical event, because I thought maybe they'd do something smaller to establish it, but this sounds like a lot going on. Looks action-packed from what we've seen.
Yeah, I think, and again, everyone that's been following along with this won't be that surprised, because Fates Wide Wheel have talked a bit about this. I wouldn't expect a lot of stuff about the historical event. That allows for some big scenery and big explosions and probably some CGI, but it's a classic Quantum Leap, human family-led story, which you can tell from the fact that initial leak was, well, it's about a couple that are about to get a divorce, and that's So it is going to be quite packed and pacey hour. But yeah,
I'm hoping there's like just for the pilot's sake, if it doesn't go to series, I'm hoping that the ending of the pilot has like a sweet moment, like he changed history accidentally and something happened. So who knows? I know one of my favorite parts of Quantum Leap, the original series, was the whole Al Beth thing. So something along that nature would be nice. Give me the feels. What else you hear, Matt?
So we've seen images inside an 80s looking house. That was the very first day of filming. Actually, was I think it was Brian Wimbrand posted an image from inside his house with like smashed crockery on the floor. So that presumably is just going to be an interior shot during the earthquake. And we also know that there's been a teenage boy cast as part of the leap element, not as part of the future element. There's nothing out. Having read the script, I know who the character is, but there's nothing out there about who this guy is. We just know the actor and the character name. Talking about the Vancouver stuff, the exteriors, there's clearly been a load of effort put in to make it look like the 80s. There's an All-Star Radio Shack. There's loads of fashion.
Little Easter egg in the Radio Shack too.
Yeah, the Radio Shack's got the little calculator hand link in the window. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to in the 80s, and that is the majority of what we know, because that's been all the location stuff. Everything that's set modern day has been done on set, so that's a little bit less.
And it's slightly in the future, right? 2025.
Well, all right. So yeah, so we're going to be cautious. So on QLI, I speculated it will be 2025. I've never re-edited that. I speculated that on the basis that the press release originally said it was 30 years after Sam leaped, which canon has that as 1995, so it's about 2025. Whether or not that's actually the case or the press release was rounding, I will leave that to your imaginations.
This is kind of tricky because I want to know what we know, but not what you know.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's what I want to try and do is summarize. But I'll be honest with the stuff that I was guessing on Quantum Leap info, and there was stuff that I guessed on Quantum Leap info that I then read the script and I did not go back and correct. So I know there's a couple of bits of information on there that may be a bit off, but I can't correct it now.
I like that though.
Really
It's leaving a little bit to the mystery because we don't know. Because if you took it off, then we know it's not right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can't update it without confirming anything. So, but yeah, it's about half the script is set in, broadly speaking, the present day. So there's loads of project stuff, and all of that was done behind closed doors before the location filming started.
See, I'm glad. I'm glad that's the stuff that's being mostly kept a mystery. You know?
Yeah.
Want to go in there blind.
We've seen some production photos of that. So we've seen a modern looking apartment, but that's a modern looking apartment. We haven't even seen any of the actors in that. And we've seen a couple of shots. We've seen a shot of one of the monitors showing Ernie Hudson and Mason Alexander Park stood next to each other, with Nanrissa Lee in the background. So Jen, our security officer. Actually, have we haven't really spoken about the characters yet, have we? And Albie, you said you've come into this like you like right.
Yeah,
start,
I know
so.
The least out of all of us, I think, about it, just because I'm so busy, and I was surprised how much had come out. And when I started looking at your website, and I was like, I need to know this stuff because I should know. I don't know it.
We can probably talk about that then, because that, in terms of the present day stuff, that's most of what we know. We don't know that much about what's actually going on at the project, or any of the plot line, or any of the factions, or anything. But we have Raymond Lee playing the Leapy, Ben Seong, which was originally Ben Prasad, and that it was Ben Prasad at the point that the script that I've got was written. We have the hologram Addison, played by Caitlin Bassett, who has no IMDb profile to speak of. She's a newcomer, and she's going to be playing the hologram. Mason Alexander Park, who is a non-binary actor, and they're going to be playing a non-binary character called Ian Wright, who appears to be the kind of gushy type replacement, maybe. And then Ernie flipping Hudson as Magic Williams. And I was just watching Leap Home Part 2 the other day, so it's kind of cool seeing that character is going to be brought back.
I think Christopher had a hand in casting Ernie Hudson there.
It was a lucky fan cast. Yeah, it's a weird sort of the disconnect that's going on here, because this being the YouTube channel, obviously we may be different audiences, maybe a little bit of overlap between the podcasts, but we've already done like a full podcast about both the announcement of the characters, and then when they announced the casting of the characters. And when they announced the characters and they described Magic, I said Ernie Hudson would be great for the role. And a week later, or a couple of weeks later, they were announcing all the casting, and sure enough, Ernie Hudson was cast as Magic. I was like, oh my God, lucky guess.
Well,
But
you know
it
they
makes
listen
sense.
because they're a big fan of Matt's.
Everybody's a big fan of Matt's.
Yeah, as soon as Chris said it, I was like, I'm obsessed with this idea. What a great casting choice. That had never happened. When they announced it, it was like, I'm so glad for that. I'm kind of glad that most of the people that are on there and that we know have been cast. I don't really know them that well. I will say, because I just like to discover new people, you know. But I will say I watched Kevin Can F Himself with Raymond Lee. That's one of his biggest projects that he's done, and he was really great in that. So that really, I felt encouraged after watching that. Like, I think he's going to be really good in this.
Yeah, and I have experience seeing Mason in the live-action Cowboy Bebop that was on Netflix, and they were terrific in it, and one of the best parts of the show. So I'm looking forward to seeing them interact with Ernie Hudson because two terrific actors set at the project, and I think it's going to be a cool dynamic.
I think I'm most excited about two of the characters. The non-binary character. Sorry, I don't know the names of either yet. I'm new.
Ian.
I think Quantum Leap. Ian, thank you. I think
I called him Mason.
Quantum Leap,
I'm sorry.
If they are as good writing and have as much conscience as the original show did, I think this is the perfect show to show a non-binary character. So I think it'll be handled very well, and I'm looking forward to that. And also, of course, Jewel, because I'm a big Bronco. So hopefully Naomi comes back. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the pilot script, and I think this is a good thing, it doesn't really delve into any of the topics about the non-binary character. So to what Allison was saying earlier on, there's a lot crammed into an hour. They don't immediately try and start pulling on all of those threads that they could do. There's some... It will be great to get into that stuff, but I think they're saving that until a later point.
Well, that's part of handling it well, too, is just not mentioning it, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It just is.
It's not a big deal.
It just is. It's normal.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to...
variation of people we are.
Yeah, as long as, like, you know, like some shows tend to do that where they bring in like non-binary or trans or anyone who deviates from the norm. And then they make it that their entire personality, and it kind of does the opposite of what the intent should be. Not that it shouldn't be acknowledged, but just, you know, they are a person.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm hopeful and looking forward to that part.
And you have to remember, I mean, Albie and I experienced this maybe more than Matt and Allison did, because TV was a little bit more progressive when you were younger. But when we were kids, if something like this was going to be explored, it was explored once in a very special episode that was all about this thing. Yeah. And then it was never mentioned again. You know, and that was that. This week on Different Strokes, Willis meets a transgender person. And, you know, we all have to understand transgender people.
Transgender representation, like, I've only ever seen it in older stuff. Like, it's usually very negative. Like, I don't remember seeing very special episodes about trans people, especially non-binary.
Oh no, I mean there weren't. There weren't.
But there weren't.
No, there weren't. I was just using that as an example. But I mean, that was sort of
Next Gen, maybe.
That was the model of TV at the time that we grew up in, you know. And I think that we're still struggling to get over that mindset where you have to spotlight something, instead of just letting it be an organic part of the world as it actually is.
I think part of that was because if they handled any subject like that back then, it would be in that one episode, because, you know, half the country in the South wouldn't air that one episode. But if they put it in the whole series, then they couldn't sell it in the syndication. Yeah. So that might have been part of it.
If any show is going to get into any of this kind of stuff, Quantum Leap's the one to do it, because that's what the show's about walking a mile in someone else's shoes, understanding people, loving people, making things right. Anyone who thinks that, like, oh, this is too woke, they shouldn't be a thing, or this is too political or whatever, it's like, that's what Quantum Leap is. Sorry, bud. That's what it is.
But Matt, this new show's got a lot of opportunities to do that, and it's good that hopefully they'll be exploring this stuff in a quite an organic way. in terms of the casting, there's another two that we haven't touched on. So we've got Nanrissa Lee playing Jen, who is our head of security at Project Quantum Leap, who is quirky. And then there's also the casting sheet mentioned a mystery woman called Janice. We don't know who's playing Janice yet. The casting for that's not announced. Janice is known to be a white woman in her 40s, so she's definitely not the mystery black woman seen on location. And yeah, outside the script, we don't know anything.
The mystery black woman is Verbena Beeks Jr.
Oh, that'd be cool.
She has no lights.
I don't know who this lady is, but like I saw the pictures and she's just like she noticed someone filming and was just like, hey. So I was like, that's nice.
Sweet.
When I first read the casting call for the show, I had very much the vibes of Timeless, that other Quantum Leap-esque show, like Team Quantum Leap, if you remember Timeless.
Can you give me the premise of that show? I don't
Timeless,
think I ever
it
saw
was Team Quantum Leap, basically. 4 people were, but instead of leaping like however Sam leapt, we still don't know. But they were going around in like a sphere that was like 7 days time travel
Right.
sphere, and they would just go back in time and do things.
But as
Change
themselves.
things. Yes, they weren't in other people, but it was very similar, but in a good way.
Okay.
Like, if you haven't seen Timeless, I highly recommend it. It had a resolved ending, which is nice. Matt Dale, what else do we know?
Well, this is the elephant in the room, isn't it? J Schwartz, Scott Bakula's publicist, has said on his Facebook page that Scott is not involved. Now, is this a publicist trying to drum up some publicity by saying his client is not involved? We can only hope. If that is, we're hoping that Scott's involved. So, yeah, everyone's got their own take on that.
I was personally messaging with J.D. Schwartz. I asked him flat out, and he
Do I have to go la la la?
No.
Oh, he said flat out no.
Well, no, he said the same thing as he said publicly, is Scott is not involved in the new Quantum Leap. So, but part of me thinks if he was part of it, they would want it to be a surprise. So then they would ask everybody not to say anything. So if he is or he isn't ever going to be involved in Quantum Leap, the answer would be he's not in Quantum Leap. So I guess we just don't know.
Well, I would think that they could be trying to make it a surprise. B, they wouldn't do it in this pilot. And C, they don't know if this is going to be picked up for series yet. It might be it gets picked up and then they start talking about, whatever they want to do, like an end of season cliffhanger or some sort of thing. I don't think it'll be like a huge series long involvement, but I do think that should this become a series, that he'll be involved in some way sometime down the line, especially because he's he just got cast in a show on NBC.
Yes.
So it would be pretty easy to kind of, he's working with the same network, get involved should they decide to do that later down the line.
Yeah, they can schedule him better if he is going to make a cameo or something.
I feel like I read when Scott was cast on that show that picking up that pilot was a condition of picking up the Quantum Leap pilot or something. Like they were somehow like a package deal. I could be remembering wrong, but I recall when that news came
speculation.
out. Yeah, and so it might have just been speculation on Variety's part or whatever. But I only read it in the trades.
What would that be like?
I don't know.
Why would that be?
Maybe I'll do a cameo each season for your Quantum Leap show if you give me this other show or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's big dogging him. He's like, all right,
his big dog Bacula.
You get me that ranch show. You get me that ranch show right now. I loved when that was announced. It was like, hey, there's a ranch show with Scott Bakula. And then like all these responses like, no, he needs to be in Quantum Leap. I hate this stupid ranch show. No, it's like, you don't know anything. You don't know anything.
And I feel like
the
the ranch show is just the network's stab at doing like its own version of Yellowstone, is what it seems like to me. So
they're like, we can't get Sam Elliott, but we could get Scott Bakula. He looks like Sam Elliott, and he played his brother once. So like,
but you
My whole
know
thought
that
was
when they sent that press release out, they must have just been like, "Oh, all the Quantum Leap fans are going to hate this," but click send.
But that's not surprising to me. Like, because I knew he wasn't going to be a regular on the show, regardless of what involvement. I don't think there will never be any involvement. But they're not even picked up for series. It might be they haven't like contacted him because they don't know if they're even going to get anything beyond this pilot.
I honestly cannot imagine that they don't go to series with this. I feel like the series is already a fait accompli. Maybe that's just fan hopes, but I can't imagine that they would be putting this much pilot around this much fanfare around a pilot without longer term plans already cemented.
and there's a $5 million budget for this pilot, so I think they believe in the project.
I think it'll be picked up, and I hope that it does well. Like, because there's a lot of remakes of shows that like I'd never heard of, or it's suddenly 5 seasons, and I'm like, what? This has been going on, and like I hope that with this, like people are paying attention because I want it to do well, and I want to like it. So hopefully.
Well, wasn't the other news that they were going to do what they did with Discovery and premiere it on both NBC and on Peacock, and then that the series itself would be a Peacock original exclusive. So it's another way for them to drive eyes to their IP, to their streaming platform. So again, I can't imagine that if they're planning on airing the pilot on NBC proper, that they're not going to follow it up with a series on Peacock, like see season 2 right now on Peacock. Go order Peacock. Go. I
already subscribed to
We're
Peacock.
getting 10 episodes. Yeah, we subscribe to
I'm
it
excited
as well. So
I just do that so I can watch Murder, She Wrote.
I did it so that Laura could watch Below Decks, but every week I look on it to see if
Peacock
Quantum
or
Leap has
that's
been
Paramount
added.
Plus?
Peacock.
Lower Decks? Is Peacock?
No, Below Decks. Lower Decks is Star Trek. That's Paramount
Oh,
Plus.
I
Similar
see.
Decks.
I was
Below Decks is the boat show.
confused. I
Boat
see.
It's okay.
So it's like
I often
Sequest?
call Below Decks Lower Decks. Yeah.
I'll watch it. Is there a dolphin? When I first heard New Orleans was over, NCIS New Orleans, and then there was talk about him coming back to Star Trek, and then we heard about the Quantum Leap Requel. I was like, okay, well, the world has to give me either Captain Archer or Sam Beckett, because now he's not tied down to a series. So when they announced that Western, I was just so sad. I was like, I'll watch it, but it's not what I wanted.
Right? Everyone wants a piece of him, and he's like, I want a piece of this ranch, this land out here.
I'll have to learn to like Westerns. Hopefully it's a time travel Western. I don't know.
Be fine. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, it might be fun.
Take the job that you want to take.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice for him? Good for Scott Bakula. Everyone's like, give me a piece of that Bakula, and he's just like,
yeah. But I mean, how much actual chatter has there been in the Trek circles about reviving Archer as a character in some way, in some fashion? I don't think there's anything but fan hope on that, just because Scott is now free.
I would love it if they did more of that. I got mixed feelings on Enterprise, but if they did like a really good reboot of Enterprise, or with his character or whatever, it'd be great.
Yeah, I would love to see Archer again. So
somehow, somewhere,
on a horse, even
someday.
North Star. I'll watch North Star before I watch his new Western series.
North Star was a really good episode.
It was. I liked it. Yeah, it was good. Matt, what else is out there that we can know?
I think that the only other thing that is floating around, and I don't want to end on a downer about something so finicky. I wish I'd mentioned this earlier, but the original series Gummy Bear hand link is apparently floating around production, and there's some implication that it might appear on screen, but it's not the screen used original hand link. It's the stand-in hand link that's like mostly yellow and blue. There's a couple of photos of it kicking around, and it's cool that they've got an original 1990s hand link, but it doesn't look anything like this. It's all yellow. So
yeah, I wonder why they
didn't. Why they didn't go to the replica props people and get this? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they just didn't know. It is a hard thing to track down. Maybe they just couldn't find an original prop, but the people on the Goldbergs did.
Yeah.
But
they went to the replica.
Yeah.
Myra ordered it right from them.
I mean, all we know
I got
is
2 of them. I could have lent him one.
There's a photo of one of the producers. There's a photo of one of the producers holding the hand link, and there's another photo that they posted of a desk with the hand link on it, and they kind of
that's the one I saw.
Might be a character's desk rather than the producer's desk.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's the character's desk,
it seems like a character thing.
So the hand link's going to appear on screen, but it's sort of the wrong hand link. But that's like the worst thing I've heard about the whole production, and that really is not that bad.
That's not so bad.
Of all
the whole no Scott Bakula thing, that's pretty. The no Scott Bakula thing, that's pretty bad.
I can't imagine I live in a world that has a Quantum Leap reboot and Scott's not involved somehow. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
I think that
I don't know why they would bother tying it. I don't know why they would bother tying it into the character if they weren't going to do anything with it. Like,
exactly.
They would just do a hard reboot if they didn't want to ever have any involvement. I think it's just the focus isn't going to be on Sam's character. So
Encounter at Farpoint did not have William Shatner showing up in it at all, and that was absolutely fine. I mean, it had a badly made up.
They just had McCoy.
DeForest Kelly.
DeForest Kelly.
Playing his father.
You know what? This new show, I'm already on my business with it. Like, I'm already on my I'm going to censor myself for Rennie here. But so I was watching Kevin can F himself, and then like I was like listening for all the connections. Like, I was like, Raymond Lee, his character's name's Sam. I was like, he's playing Sam. That's interesting. And then like the main character of Kevin Can F himself, her name's Allison. And then someone calls her Addison, and I was like, Addison, what's going on here? All the connections. Maybe this is all tying into the new Quantum Leap.
New Burger Theory?
Wow.
Yeah.
New Burger Theory. There you go. Double Burger Theory.
Maybe explain that to the YouTube audience that doesn't know the Burger Theory from 8 years ago in the premiere episode of Quantum Leap Podcast.
So I don't know if anybody knows this about me, but I tend to obsess over Quantum Leap in general. And when I was doing the Quantum Leap podcast, the original series, I would watch each episode of Quantum Leap probably 8 to 10 times, just so I had it in my brain, like verbatim. And I would notice little things that in each episode of Quantum Leap, there was like mention or showing something that is actually taking place in the next leap. And the Burger Theory got its name from the Ernst Burger Theory test or whatever they made up, and Dr. Berger was in the first episode of Quantum Leap Genesis, and then in the next episode, what's it called?
Starcrossed.
Starcrossed, that's it. They obsess about a burger and how he orders a burger and how good the burger is, and they talk about a burger. I was like, oh, burger and that and burger and that, and then something happened in Starcrossed that's actually referenced in Starcrossed. I think it was the nuns and something else. And then in the next episode, and then it just kept going, that I would notice that they would put something in the episode that takes place in the next episode. And it went on for quite a while. I don't know if the connections went through the whole series, because we only made it up to Rebel Without a Clue.
We haven't been carrying that standard nearly as well as we should.
Occasionally
sometimes we
have
reference
referenced it though, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There's definitely been some connections.
But there are some people that are big believers in it, but I just thought it was crazy. But it tends to work out. It's probably one of those dark side of them.
There's some people,
things, you know.
It's you and that other person in your head. They're really big believers.
the 5 people in my head and Hayden. So we all believe it.
I have never seen Hayden in real life. I think he might be in your head as well.
Matt, do you know or have you heard when we might be expecting the pilot episode to air on Peacock or NBC?
The rumor is October. I don't know how solid that rumor is, but I think it's next month that NBC's presenting its pilot lineup in New York. So that's when there's expected to be more solid details about when and if there's a series to follow and all that. But yeah, October seems to be the rumor, which is only 6 months away.
Yeah, I think some of Stephen Lillian's tweets seem to indicate the fall sometime is when potentially this is going to happen.
All right.
Well, that's normal for TV. Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank Christopher D. Philippus, Allison Pregler, and Matt Dale. Remember to look for Quantum Leap, the novel, where all excellent books are sold. And also, if you are a Patreon member of the Quantum Leap podcast at the book club member or higher, you get this fancy best bookmark in the world. It's got a checklist of all the Quantum Leap novels on it. And
you obsess over the Burger Theory. I obsess over that bookmark. I adore that bookmark.
It's an amazing bookmark.
It's great.
And check out Allison Pregler on YouTube. She's everywhere on there. She's awesome. And also go to quantumleapinfo.net to find out all the latest news from Matt Dale's website. And check out Matt Dale's book, Beyond the Mirror Image, The Observer's Guide to Quantum Leap. And we'll put a link down below. And thank you guys for joining me, and thank you for letting me know what's going on. I'm sure we'll be back when there's a trailer drop or something, and we'll tell you more we know. And Matt, thanks for not telling us too much.
Pleasure, I think.
Yeah. I don't envy you your position, sir.
Are you sure?
It's a tightrope.
All right. So for the Quantum Leap podcast special edition, I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
I'm Allison.
And I'm Matt.
Burger with onions. Something like that. Also joining me today is internet personality and the host of the Quantum Leap podcast and the owner of the only known I got to start that again. Okay. Also joining me today is internet personality, host of the Quantum Leap.
I'm waiting to find out which one of us you're talking about anyway.
Okay. You'll get there. I'll get there. Okay. Also joining me today is internet personality. Oh, man, this happens to me. I was fine before, right?
Yeah, you were doing it perfectly.
Okay.